anyone. That was our entire intent last night from keeping people away and today, and it will be this weekend to keep our citizens safe. Economic Development is working with the structure owners in order to make sure that the residents who were displaced have a place to stay. I do want to give a shout out to Gosha, who is the general manager of the Wyndham. She came right down here last night and offered up the Wyndham. We had 4 residents stay for free there last night. So I do want to give her credit for just jumping down here to the scene and trying to make sure people were taken care of. We've had tons of offers for water and Gatorade. And if you want to keep cycling those requests through the mayor's office, through the communications department, or through OPED, we will have people on site working in this heat all weekend long, keeping this facility secure. And the police command unit will be here, so the water and Gatorade would be greatly used there for those who will be downtown. The farmers market, I'll let Carlos talk to you about that, but it is going to continue this weekend. We just have to move the location. There is a downtown bar crawl that will still be happening as well. Ad Astra is going to put the map on their site so you can see the map through Ad Astra. And then lastly, I want to give a shout out to Lisa Clemens Stott. She was down here first thing this morning. She has worked with Illinois National Bank, and there is an account set up. You can go to any Illinois National Bank facility and ask to go make a deposit into the account, and the funds will go to the business owners and the residents who were displaced. And I'm going to let OPED give you some highlights on that. So first, I'm going to bring up Carlos to talk about Farmers Market. Then I'm going to bring up OPED to talk to you a little bit about the fund established and how people can reach out to OPED for help. And then I'm going to bring up the police department to talk to you about safety. So Carlos.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate everyone coming out here today. My name is Carlos Ortega, the Executive Director of Downtown Springfield Incorporated. I do want to inform everyone that the farmers market is still going to take place here on Adams Street. It's just going to be more towards 2nd Street area. It's supporting our farmers and our small business is key. And I think that through collaboration and continued engagement, we can really see the city of Springfield thrive and see the community that we have here. I'm very excited that we can continue this. And if anyone has any questions, I'd appreciate anything else.
We'll take questions from all of you at the end. I'll let Haley Wilson kind of dictate who can ask questions when. I'm going to bring OPED up to talk to you a little bit about the outreach to the residents, where you can donate funds to, and then also if you need to contact them for help.
Good afternoon, Valiezel Economic Development Director, and Kayla Graven works in the office with me. The most important thing for us last night was getting down here to speak with not only the business owners, but the displaced residents. Everybody's is in a fluster, is confused, don't know what to do, and we needed to come down here and be right on the ground with them. Getting names, finding out who's needing assistance for us. And then, as the mayor mentioned this morning, Lisa Clemens Stott set up an account at INB, and the name is, I'm going to let her do it.
People can go to INB locations, and it's called Benefit for Businesses Affected by Adams Family Fire.
We are struggling, not really struggling, we're working today, let's just say, looking for every opportunity that we can find for funding to help these individuals through this time. And if you need any assistance, you can call the offices 789-2377 and either ask for our and we'll be happy to help you in what we possibly can. Anything else?
Springfield Police Department.
To the men and women of the Springfield Fire Department. In my 27 years in law enforcement, there are very few I would call in our community. This would be one of the men and women of the Springfield Fire Department. unstable building. There are folks here that are working diligently to correct that, but until that happens, we need to keep this area clear to maintain the safety of not only those working, but of our citizens of the community. So we'll be out in full force throughout the weekend, and quite frankly, as long as it takes to ensure that this building is deemed safe at that point. And we'll be here to answer any questions that you may have as well. But I would just encourage those that want to be onlookers that the place to do it is not in front of the building. If you want to step down a block away, that's fine. But let's keep the area clear so that men and women can get their work done. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. Now
Good afternoon. My name is Dave Fuchs. I'm the Director of Public Works for the City of Springfield. As you can see behind me, we have a building that is devastated and it is still dangerous. I ask that everyone who is not involved in the immediate cleanup to stay completely clear of this area. We don't need anybody else getting hurt. It is a dynamic situation that we are facing right now, which means changes continue to occur. Please stay away from this area. Thank you.
Now we'll open it up to questions for the media. I'll let Haley pick who's going to ask the first question.
Anybody have questions for the media?
Carson.
Carson?
Chief Canny?
Could we just kind of get more detail about how many extra firefighters had to come onto the scene? Can we get suffered a concussion and was going to see a neurologist? Can you describe about her?
I'm not going to talk specific health concerns, but so we had 50 firefighters that were actually working already. We brought in every apparatus to this fire at one time or another, plus all of any of our spare apparatus, engines and trucks. We brought in 20 additional firefighters off duty so that we could rotate fresh bodies through. Because of the temperature and because of the extreme size of this fire, we needed to rotate fresh bodies through so that we didn't end up with injuries. The one firefighter who was injured within the first half hour of the fire. Whilst we were trying to find the fire, part of the ceiling came down, and due to that, it caused an injury. That person was transported from the scene. Again, person has been treated and discharged from the hospital.
Has there been any other firefighters that may have had injuries or had concerns?
So as far as other documented injuries, we have one person who had a sprained wrist, but not any injuries per se. That's just kind of typical of doing our job. Okay.
Any additional questions? That's John. Chief.
Canny.
Let's stand over here with us.
Actually, how you stand there. I just want to ask you what time how the fire started.
So right now we are classifying this fire as an undetermined fire. That's all I can tell you.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Who do you have a question?
Well, whoever, I'm wondering how many residents were in the building or are affected by the fire.
Okay.
Val?
Val and Kayla. Chris, you can come up with them if you want. You want Chris to be with you?
Yeah, Chris, you want to come up just a little bit?
Yeah.
You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Chris Nickel, owner of the property that was affected and the neighboring building where Cafe Moxa resides.
You want to mention how many displaced?
Sure. Obviously, Cafe Moxa itself is on the first floor. We have 4 apartments above. All 4 of the apartments were occupied with a total of 6 residents. The building itself that burnt, we had the Cat's Pajamas Cat Cafe on one side, and we had Electric Quill Tattoo on the other. And then the Elf Shelf bookstore on the second floor. Thankfully, because the fire was preceded by smoke for a few hours, we had plenty of time to evacuate all people and animals out of both buildings.
Okay, and a few of the buildings to the east have a few displaced people. About 6 people were displaced, an additional 6 people. Due to smoke inhalation, there was not damage to the building.
So was the elf shelf one of the buildings that was destroyed?
Yes, the elf shelf at the time had all of their materials on the second floor.
So they lost all their inventory?
It appears that way, yes.
Director Abel,
Yes.
it seems like in the past few years, it seems like there's been kind of an economic revival down there with new stores. Why was there such an intent to try to build up, the economics on that?
Well, you talk to each one of these owners. This was an owner. This was not necessarily the city. We support everything that they're wanting to do, but we're talking to the heart and soul of these entrepreneurs to build up on Adams Street. They've joined together in a way I've not really experienced with very many locations. So I don't say that we necessarily did anything. I say you give credit to all these entrepreneurs on this street.
And a lot of people talk about how Cafe Mox has been an anchor of kind of this area. How is that going to impact, commerce, with that potentially being down for months?
Absolutely, and that's why we've been working with Mark. I spoke with Mark first thing yesterday, corresponded with him all during the day, was here until midnight with him first thing this morning. We're doing everything that we can to help support him and raise him up, because you are right. He was kind of like that first anchor here and built all this along Adams Street, helped build it.
Can I ask a question? Did we hear on camera yet about demolishing is going to potentially start Monday, right? Can anybody speak on that?
After this question, we'll go to the gentleman behind you because he's had his hand up for a while. Yeah, we can't. We'll let O'Shea Builders and Hanson Engineering come up. The question is about demolition or possible demolition of the building.
So we came down this morning to assess the situation, and we've determined that it would be prudent to do some analysis the next couple of days to evaluate the stability of the structure, which Hanson's is helping with their structural engineering team. And so there'll probably be no visible activity on site until at least Tuesday, as we try and completely understand the building stability as best we can. Hear anything?
Could you identify yourself, sir?
Mike O'Shea with O'Shea Builders and Gary Clack with Hanson Engineers.
Is there concerns that those structures, since it's all one building, is it not in stable condition right now?
Gary, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, so you're right. There's common walls between these buildings, and that's what we're monitoring right now. You've probably seen our drone out there. We're making measurements today, so we can have a baseline comparison to see where things are early next week. We've considered with O'Shea Builders stabilization efforts that may be necessary inside the adjoining buildings prior to the removal of debris.
Absolutely. Mayor, can you talk about the impact of not only the first responders yesterday, but all the Adams family businesses coming together to help each other last night?
Sure.
After this devastating fire?
I do want to give a shout out to Springfield Fire and all city agencies. Springfield Fire brought out, as the chief said, over 50 individuals to assist with this. And then they had another structure fire at about 7:30 last night, chief, or so, in a home where there was displaced individuals and injury. So they had a really tough day yesterday. Springfield Police Department was out here in full force during the entire time, trying to keep the crowds at bay. Last evening, when we were bringing in, Tuxhorn brought in the entire big piece of equipment, as some of you may have seen, to work on the building. And police department helped secure 4th Street so we could get that in safely. OPED was here all night long. Public Works was here from the beginning to the end. So we had Springfield employees full force out here helping. Adams Street itself, those that weren't affected, that are on the other side of 4th Street, have come out multiple times trying to see how they can help their neighbors a block away who have been hurt. Ad Astra was here this morning trying to find out how they could help get donations, get food, get water, get whatever is needed. The community itself has been reaching out nonstop. Neiman Foods, Lowe's, Peerless Cleaners. They want to know how they can help. There are so many groups offering to help. Springfield community has rallied around these businesses on Adams Street, And there are many businesses here on Adams Street that were affected. And I think sometimes people don't realize how many businesses are here. The itty bitty fashion truck is across the street. They're not able to open. There's a lot of businesses here. So we need to acknowledge those. Buzz Bomb left their building so we could use the restrooms last night because there weren't any restrooms for all of our responders to use. So shout out to Josh Flanders at Buzz Bomb for letting them do that. And there's just a big community effort here, and it's ongoing. It's not stopped.
Can you also touch on, I know we talked about it off camera, the governor stepping up to help out as well?
So the governor did reach out to Mark Fornash, the owner of Cafe Moxo, because he heard of their loss. And the city is still working with all of the individual owners of the structures. Clearly, it's not even been 24 hours, and you have to have that long of a period to talk to your insurance company most times. So they need the opportunity to talk to their insurance companies, and then we'll start moving forward. And if there needs to be a request of the state for help, we can do that. But at this time, we need to let the owners work with their insurance companies.
Additional questions?
I have a question just about this time.
Let's let you go first.
Mayor Busher, can you talk a little bit about the emergency declaration and kind of
Sure.
a little bit why that was issued?
So under city code, any expenditure over $25,000 has to be approved by city council. But there is a part of the code that allows me as the mayor to do an emergency declaration for an expenditure in the event that it might be over 25,000. And I did do one of those last night so that we could address the falling structure behind us. So that's how we brought in the demolition crew to assess that. And I will give a shout out. Their company is called Green Track. And I just want you to know, if any of you watched it, it was majestic what they were doing. And I hate to say that word, but this structure could have very easily caved out into the street as it fell. And they were very careful and precise. And every time they touched it, they made sure things went inward. So there wasn't damage to, look at Cafe Moxo. I don't see a broken window. That is amazing. So I just have to give a shout out to that group. And they will be coming back next week to help us with the removal of the debris. But we need to make sure everything's safe before we do that.
With demolishing, it's going to start Tuesday, or this Tuesday expected. What's kind of the timeline to get the street back open and these businesses can be back?
I would say that the timeline for the street open and the business open is very fluid, would be the word I would use, because none of us can predict what may or may not happen as we start touching some of the debris. So that would be looking into a crystal ball, and that we don't have.
So probably at least a week.
At least.
So a week from today or a week from Tuesday?
More or less. I can't tell you.
Is there going to be efforts to maybe have overnight workers, have people work weekends to try to jumpstart?
They were here all night last night, Carson.
No, I'm just saying.
There's an additional question, Carson.
Yes, ma'am. You got a question?
Sorry, in regards to the building behind and behind, I know the demolition is getting on. Do you know at this time that building can be salvaged or it will be on as well?
I'm going to let either Hanson or O'Shea speak to that. So this blue, like, the blue structure here.
Yeah, in regard to that building, again, we've not done a thorough review inside that building, but indications now are that building is salvable.
Additional questions?
I guess any timeline for when demolition might kind of start? I know you touched on a little bit, but
let Mike O'Shea speak to that.
Our hope Tuesday at the earliest would be, can we go in and stabilize the building? The stabilization effort in and of itself will probably take at least a week, possibly longer. Again, we don't know the breadth and depth of what we need to do. And that will need to take place before you would actually see the demolition operation continue. If I had to speculate, we're probably near 2 weeks, could be more, before we actually start to see debris removal and the continuation of the demolition efforts. Because if we continue them prior to that point, we risk collapse of the adjacent structures.
And when you say stabilization, is that putting in like metal braces to kind of?
We're determining what exact that it could be of that nature. We're trying to design. We're trying to determine what exact is the best remedy for the situation.
Yes, ma'am.
For someone who speaks to the building named Chris, I'm wondering if there is
It's my understanding that we can't determine that because the building's not safe to go in and make that analysis. But we believe anything that would have been, that there's nothing in there salvageable at this point, no. But we also haven't been able to get in to make any kind of analysis like that.
Safety is first and foremost here for everyone. So that answer that you got, the answer to the street being closed, not knowing how long, it's safety. If one more person gets an injury from this, it's too many. Yes, ma'am.
In regards to the 12 displaced people who had their livelihoods and their living situation taken away, do you know at the time if the window was going to continue posting before that to visit them this week, or
I think that the free night was for last night just because they didn't have anything, and we're working with the OPED to find spaces for them from this point forward. So, yeah. Yep.
Any additional questions?
One for Chief Canny. One of the people that was in the building, they said that there was a fire hydrant nearby that didn't have any water in it or wasn't working properly yesterday. Are you able to comment on that at all?
The only hydrant issue that I recall we had was, as the mayor said, when there's an emergency incident, we ask people to stay away. One of our hydrants had to be turned off and turned back on because someone ran over our hose. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I can only speculate. So, but I would like to second what the mayor said about thanking all of the city departments. The electric department was here to secure the electric for us, the water department with our hydrants and making sure we had adequate water. The police department always assisting us with crowd control and traffic. Public Works has been with us from the onset, both with stabilization of the building as well as helping us out during the fire, and they'll continue to take it from here. But every single department, and we couldn't do it without the mayor. The mayor was side by side with my injured firefighter while we were here trying to bring this fire under control. And she spent countless hours just making sure that that person was healthy. So,
Chief, I don't know if you mentioned it as you did. I'm sorry. Did you use any other departments, or was it just Springfield personnel?
we simply used Springfield personnel. We were able to call back enough people. Chatham and Sherman are always at the ready. We did call upon, I believe it was Sherman for the MVU. So we have a resource that is shared amongst all of the Central Illinois departments, and we did have Sherman respond with the big fan, and we utilized that. So, but as far as other departments coming in to assist on the fire, that did not happen.
Yes, ma'am.
What does this mean for the future of downtown, especially the ed?
She wanted
I honestly think that this means growth and development. I think we can grow from this tragedy. You can see how the community has come together today to actually encourage all of the resources that the city has and the mayor's support and Public Works and the police department and the fire department. I think we can become a stronger downtown because of this. And I think if everyone gets together, I think that you'll see growth and development in our downtown area.
Thank you all for coming down, and thank you for helping spread the word about the account that was established to help those in need at Illinois National Bank. And then also, thank you for helping spread the word of public safety while this project is ongoing. We appreciate that. I was going to have those.
Yeah.